You have an enormous responsibility. And you take it seriously, not because I'm running, I mean that sincerely, but because who the president is. What you do is who you send out in New Hampshire is going to make a big difference about who's likely to be the Democratic nominee as president. So it's more than, I don't think there's a single election, no matter how young or old you are, if it's your first vote or you've voted many times, that has been this consequential. 4 years of Donald Trump, as my grandfather Finnegan would say, with the grace of God and the goodwill of neighbors, can go down in history as an aberration in political history of America. But 8 years of Donald Trump, I honest to God believe will change the character of the nation. These kids will grow up in a very different country. We'll get it back eventually, but it's going to have real consequences. So there's a lot at stake. And, I think this year, literally the character of the country, the character of the candidates is on the ballot. The character of the country. I don't recall an election like this since I've been engaged in politics. But Donald Trump has diminished America on the world stage. And he's diminished us not only in the eyes of the world, but diminished us who we are as a country and how we're viewed. And I think it's really dangerous. You know, we used to talk about America being that shining city on the hill. Well, our allies who once looked at us for leadership are now, quite frankly, deciding they have to go it alone. Not a joke, deciding they have to go it alone. Secondly, our adversaries who once feared if they crossed us, they'd have a problem, they now see a president who they can bamboozle or just simply ignore. Ordinary people from all the nations around the world look at America differently. They watch this president sending, quote, love letters to Kim Jong-un. No, I mean, think about this in terms of the consequences of all of this. We used to stand for universal rights, human rights. We were the beacon that everybody looked to. We were the hope. We have led the world not just by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. We have been the beacon, for real. Think of why the rest of the world is repaired to us. It's been the example we have set, that we in fact mean what we say. We've never fully lived up to it, but we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, or we the people. We've never fully lived up to it. We've never closed it down before. We've never walked away from it before. One of the reasons I decided to run was because I watched those folks coming out of the fields, literally coming out of the fields with lighted torches in Virginia in 2017, chanting anti-Semitic bile, the same chants that were used in just prior to World War II in the 30s in Germany, carrying swastikas. Close your eyes and picture what you saw. Their veins bulging, the anger and hate, accompanied by the Ku Klux Klan and white supremacists. And a young woman was killed. And the president was asked to comment on what did he think. Remember his answer? An answer no president has ever given anything like it. He said, there are very fine people on both sides. My Lord. No, for real, this is a dangerous guy. And folks, ordinary people who once saw America as that beacon now look at it. There's a international poll done as to what nations you most respect. You know, we once stood as a nation of immigrants. We once stood as a nation of open arms. But the poll showed that the leader of China internationally is more popular in the world today and viewed as a better leader than the President of the United States of America. I'm not joking. Did any of you ever think, as my wife, the professor, would say, you can Google it. It's a fact. Think about it, though. What does that mean for our future? What does that mean for our kids and our grandkids? This man has now decided that he's against asylum seekers, refugees, the entire religious groups, the so-called Muslim ban. is betraying our most fundamental freedom, religious freedom, First Amendment. Ladies and gentlemen, think about it. It goes against everything we stand for and everything we believe in. And now, 3 years after his assault on our American values, Donald Trump's announced he wants to expand the Muslim ban to more countries. It's not even relevant whether it's a Muslim ban or any other ban. The idea that he's making a judgment that certain people, based on their religious beliefs, have no right to come to the United States, period. Folks, the fact is that, make no mistake about this, I've dealt with national security and intelligence matters my whole career. I've traveled the world and been to almost every country. You want a recruiting tool for terrorists, let it be known that we, the United States, have a no admission sign for Muslims. What do you think that does to the organizing capacity of the terrorists around the world to say, see, the United States hates you. See, the United States is your problem. Folks, he doesn't even get it. He doesn't even understand the international consequences of what he's doing. But it's incredibly, for real, incredibly dangerous to our national security. And folks, you know, this is not who we are. And when it comes to respecting our troops, have you ever heard of a president? It just came out last week. It happened earlier in the year. Last week it was reported that he berated our generals and our flag officers from the Navy in what they call the tank, the secret facility in the Defense Department where you go to discuss anything and it's completely secure. In the tank, it's reported that he referred to them to their faces as, you're a bunch of losers, dopes, and babies. Look how he treats everyone from the FBI to the intelligence communities. He stands before the whole world, and a guy that I know, Vladimir Putin, and he looks at him and he says, why would he interfere in our elections? Even though 18 intelligence agencies in the United States of America guaranteed him that they did. What do you think that does for our credibility with other national agencies that we need cooperation from around the world to fight terrorism in failed states? I've never, and I don't think any one of you can ever name anybody who's in that office that's diminished our law enforcement, our intelligence community, and our military, like this guy did, as if he has any experience in any of those things. Any of them.